The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Gwilda Wiyaka's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the Science of Magic or endorsed in any manner by Gwilda Wiyaka, Relmar McConnell Media Company, its affiliated networks, stations, or employees. Welcome to the Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, a program dedicated to uncovering the unified nature of reality and humanity's ever-evolving place as truly galactic beings. For more information on the Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, visit us online at www.thescienceofmagic.net.
Welcome to the Science of Magic, a place where science and magic come together to transform fact into evolving truth. We can be found on our website, www.thescienceofmagic.net. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. This hour, my guests, Tom LUMBRAZO and I, will be exploring sky readers. One day, out of the clear blue, one of my earliest teachers turned to me with a distant look and stated, "You're able to read the sky, but you're not a sky reader. Part of your path will be to find and encourage the ones that are." He went back to giving an offering of cornmeal to an anthill before gathering the largest pieces of sand from its top. "What did you just say?" I inquired. He looked up at me blankly and shook his head as if he had no idea what I was talking about. I didn't have the opportunity to train with him long, but during that time there were several such occurrences, when he would look at me with a vacant stare and make a short, obscure comment that he seemed unaware of. I viewed him as a strange little fellow, but he did a great job of teaching me how to make traditional rattles, and he seemed well pleased with my gifts of tobacco and foodstuffs. Sky reader? What in the dickens was that? I've wondered on many occasions. A meteorologist, an astronomer, an astrologer? I've since come to realize that while all of these read the sky, and some are sky readers, there are very few gifted individuals that very accurately and consistently divine world events and spiritual messages through the cloud formations in the sky. My first encounter was in the form of one of my friends. I was in college in Wyoming and had several hiking buddies. One afternoon, I was hiking with one of them who just happened to be my roommate. It was a beautiful day, so we stopped on a treeless hillside and sat in the grass to have lunch. My friend was lying on her back watching the clouds when she suddenly burst into tears. When I asked her what was wrong, she said, "My grandmother just died. See her up there, waving goodbye?" I looked into the cloud formation she indicated, and after quite some time, if I really stretched my imagination, I could indeed make out what looked like an angel with wings and a raised hand. I knew my friend occasionally smoked pot, but I hadn't seen her doing so on the hike. Maybe a brownie. No, we just had sandwiches and nothing more. She continued to cry and watch the clouds until the formation completely faded. Then she turned to me and said, "We have to go back to the dorm. I have to pack and drive home to be with my mom." Upon our return, the message awaited her to call her mother. Her grandmother had passed at the very time we were on our hike, and I realized I had just witnessed my very first true sky reader. In the years that followed as a shamanic teacher, I've had several other opportunities to meet sky readers. Some graduated from my school as certified shamanic practitioners, and others fleshed out their already formidable divination skills by learning to perform shamanic journey and prediction methods. 201, their divinational gifts were not restricted to just the clouds, and 201, they have been impressively accurate. Several weeks back, I received the most beautiful gift of 2 stunning books full of amazing stories and breathtaking photographs. The pictures were of clouds and accompanied by lovely, divinely inspired affirmations, each offering important messages from the clouds. My guest this hour, Tom LUMBRAZO, is the author of these books and, in my opinion, a true sky reader. Tom and his wife Carol are authors, artists, and photographers. Among their works are Journey to the Clouds, Faces of the Universe, Sacred Images, and simply Angelic Divine Images. Tom's books are designed to help others to awaken at this time in our planet's evolution. His website is www.whenangelstouch.com. When we return, I'll introduce this fine man of service to the planet, and we'll discuss the hidden messages found in the sky. You're listening to The Science of Magic. This and other innovative episodes can always be found on our website, www.thescienceofmagic.net. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this short break to dance with Tom and the beautiful angels he finds in the clouds. The scientist and the mystic have been on an age-old, relentless search with one thing in common. They seek truth. Their paths converge in the 40,000-year-old practice of shamanism, an ancient science delving to the quantum level of life, facilitating healing, manifestation, and evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a unique Colorado State-certified occupational school training shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also provide classes for empowering personal lives through shamanism. Our certification classes are in week-long segments enabling international participation, and online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions are available. Come discover the science of magic in the limitless world of shamanism. www.findyourpathhome.com. Welcome back. This is the Science of Magic, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our guest this hour is Tom LUMBRAZO, artist, photographer, and author of Simply Angelic and other fine books. www.whenangelstouch.com. Tom, I found your books and your story both fascinating and profound. I love the way the pictures speak more than words, and yet you include enough words to enrich your reader's experience of the cloud people and messages found in nature. It was very, very refreshing, and thank you so much for joining us on The Science of Magic.
Well, Gwilda, I am so happy to be here. I send blessings to all your listeners.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Tom, when did your ability to access information and spirits that many others are not privy to begin?
Well, in earnest, I would say in February 2001, when an angel voice came into my Jeep when I was driving and told me to slow down to 35 when I was going 60, and within seconds, another car pulled in front of me and caused a huge accident. We both totaled our cars. Fortunately for me and the others, we survived. And the CHP, the policeman that came, and within 10 minutes said if I had been going 60 instead of 35, I would have died. That was the remarkable time when I awoke, essentially. It was the beginning of what I had no idea was going to come. But that was it. The angel spoke, and then I had to find out who that angel was. It was a male voice, and it spoke in real audible terms. So that began a journey of trying to find out who this was and why.
So your first experience was actually audio?
Yes. Very strong audio. And since that time, messages have come in so many different ways.
So can you tell us when you first noticed you were receiving messages from the sky?
That started roughly in 2006. It started not just in the sky. It actually started. I'm an avid runner, and one day in 2006 I started running and went by some sidewalks and rocks, and I started seeing images in those images of look like Native Americans, images of people, images that look like of ancient societies or ancient people from ancient societies. And fortunately, I had two psychics at that time who were just remarkable, and they helped me to decipher who that was, why that was happening. And then the following year, when we went to Peru, it was shown to us in the clouds a giant bird, a giant cat, and later a giant serpent, all in the clouds. And on first in our trip to from Cusco to Machu Picchu, and then at Lake Titicaca, well, those clouds turn out to be the condor is the bird, the cat is the puma, and the snake is the serpent. And those are the three gods of the Incas. So we were being shown their gods. That was definitive for me. That was so astounding that I could not stop looking up anymore. I had to look at all the clouds, and the more I looked, the more I saw.
So that really got you looking up as well as down, it sounds like.
Yes, well, it all works together. There are images in landscaping. There's images in bushes, trees, come to find out. And so the more we're aware, the more we see. And obviously we have to slow down a bit. In our rapid society, it's hard to do. But once you start, I think most of us would become interested and try to see more. And certainly,
don't you think that's? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Don't you think that's one of our problems? Is like these messages are always here, but we've become so disconnected and distracted we don't see them or hear them.
Absolutely, and that's the thing, because we are so distracted by video games, TV, computers, our work. Obviously, spending a lot of time in the daytime in an office building, for example. And then when we come home, we're busy with family and children and so forth. So how is it that we could spend any time outdoors? And it's interesting to my wife and I, Carolyn and I, that when you walk through the neighborhoods, there are very few kids outdoors compared to what we used to grow up. We used to go out and play. Well, it's to just have the freedom to go out and, as you say, lay down in a field and look up and see. We've all done that as children, and in a sense, we have to do it again as adults.
Don't you think as parents we're starting to fall down on, we're so busy trying to make the nice life for our family that we've started to fall down on being able to take the time to, A, stay connected ourselves, and then encourage our children's natural imagination and ability to connect with nature?
I think that's generally true, and particularly today's parents have a lot to do with children, and everything seems to be organized. All kinds of play is organized. It's teams and this and that, and it's not like it used to be, where we used to have the freedom to roam and go to play with whoever we wanted to play with. I remember those days, and that's when you have this freedom to see. And of course, a big component of this is actually believing. And we're taught that this stuff does not exist. Well, it does exist. I'm proof of that, because I didn't believe before either. I didn't even believe in angels prior to 2001. I thought they were mythical in nature. Well, I was wrong, and so I've been taught a valuable lesson. And part of why I wrote the books and speak is to give people a suggestion to slow down, look around, see what you can see, actually enjoy our place on this earth and all that it brings.
That's so important for all of us, and I think for our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health, to reconnect with our roots, with the planet, with the sky. And without that, we're kind of disconnected from everything, don't you think?
I agree with that, absolutely.
Why do you think you're being given these messages?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you. All I know is that it happened. It was a wake-up call to change my life, and it certainly has. And so I just gone with it and tried to understand it. It was difficult in the beginning because I didn't believe, but I was a person that needed proof on anything in life, and that's what I did. I just searched and researched, met with a lot of people. And the more I did, the more I saw, the more I was open, the more it was presented to me, either in the clouds or in messages that come to me in different ways. So it was like, it's been 15 years of this, so it's been a long process. And I think that is probably how it happens for many people.
I've been seeing this, Tom, as a practitioner, working with a lot of clients, and also as a teacher for over the last 30 years. In recent years, the people I work with have really been becoming increasingly sensitive to otherworldly beings and omens. Why do you think these things are showing up more frequently and to more people at this time?
Well, many people are saying the veil or the border between this third dimension that we exist in and other dimensions. And in fact, there's no question there are other dimensions, like the fourth dimension or the fifth dimension and beyond. And so perhaps this was a time for us to awaken that beings from other dimensions can connect with us in different ways. And I think that is true. I mean, clearly I felt this.
I'm experiencing the frequency of the spiritual or quantum level and that of the physical natural world and that of human beings are kind of coming more into a continuity. Is this your experience and what you're talking about here?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Sure. It's again, in my practice, what I'm experiencing is there's becoming a more of a fluid continuity between spiritual world or quantum level, the physical world, as in the earth, planet, and people. Like there's starting to connect more. Do you think that's what's going on here in these kind of accelerated times?
Yes, I do. I think there's more and more evidence of this. Even our scientists are discussing now quantum physics and how our world is so much different than we've been taught before. They're finding so many different realities. There's many thoughts that there's not just our universe, but many universes. Certainly there's more than our own galaxy. There's billions and billions of galaxies. It's hard to get your mind around all of this. But when you talk about infinity, well, can we even understand that? I think our minds are so small in a way. But the reality is that we are not alone. We're not alone on this planet. I have photographic evidence of other life forms that are invisible to us, but my camera picks up, such as wood sprites in the mountains or the menehuna on the top of Hawaiian mountain ranges. There's all kinds of life. And if that exists, then can you just even imagine what exists in other places, in other dimensions, and other planets? So I think we're in a place where we're going to be in a very huge learning curve, and it's very exciting, actually.
The scientist and the mystic have been on an age-old, relentless search with one thing in common. They seek truth. Their paths converge in the 40,000-year-old practice of shamanism, an ancient science delving to the quantum level of life, facilitating healing, manifestation, and evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a unique Colorado State certified occupational school training shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also provide classes for empowering personal lives through shamanism. Our certification classes are in week-long segments enabling international participation, and online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions are available. Come discover the science of magic in the limitless world of shamanism. www.findyourpathhome.com. Welcome back. This is the Science of Magic, a place where magic and science come together to promote enlightenment. We can be found on www.thescienceofmagic.net. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our guest this hour is Tom LUMBRAZO, author of numerous lovely books, including Simply Angelic. His website, www.whenangelstouched.com. Tom and I were just starting to talk about really interesting things like other things he's seen outside of cloud beings and critters that he's actually has on film. So, Tom, outside of cloud beings, what other spirits have you seen?
Well, clearly, when we talk about see, I would more categorize it as what kind of messages have I gotten. And in terms of photographic evidence, clearly the clouds, as you've seen in the books, are just remarkable, fantastic. I mean, who would ever thought? But I get messages from all kinds of sources, probably from other angels. Sometimes, for example, I have messages on my office phone. They're recorded, and I still have them. That certainly the sound of them, they're coming from another dimension, another place, and they're giving me a message. For example, one message came from a female voice was, everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right. Well, that was at a time around 2005 and 6 when I was having a very difficult time with this and understanding it. And so it was like someone was coming in and telling me it's going to be all right. Don't worry about it. I get messages. My mom and dad died in 2011. My dad was a professional trumpet player. From the day he died until today, so it's been several years, he channels through me his music. In his era of the 30s, 40s, and 50s, he's making me actually sing a song that he wants me to sing or to hum it. And most of the times it's happening when I'm walking with my wife, or I might be in bed with her, and I start singing. And these are songs I would never sing. For example, Sweet Georgia Brown, Someone to Watch Over Me, By the Light of the Silvery Moon, You Are My Sunshine, You Have to Have Heart, September Song, and the list goes on. Usually 1 or 2 or 3 a week. And what we've done is we looked at the lyrics of these songs and decipher the message he's sending to us at that time. Through my psychics, it's many times I'm with them, and my dad comes through, and I might be speaking to him just like I'm speaking to you for 10, 15, 20 minutes. And he is actually still seen in his house, going up and down the hallway. So my point is that there are things that we tend to not want to believe, but it all exists. Life continues after this life. It continues in other dimensions. Angels exist. I believe wholeheartedly that aliens exist in different forms. Some are good, some are bad. Some have been working with me for many years. So there's a whole host of things. And I think one of the points I wanted to make is that just like there's good and bad in our everyday life, there's good people, bad people, good situations, bad situations. The same goes with these other beings. I've had several beings that have been very negative, very terrible for me, and you have to have the discipline to fight them off and find ways to do that. At the same time, there are many great things, many great angels that come to help you. I've had angels come to me in human form and give me a message, at least in 2 separate incidents. And there's no possible way that they could have been there giving me that particular message without them being angelic in nature.
I'm really glad you brought this up because not only does the spirit world exist, but I think increasingly everyone needs to have knowledge of that it's there and responsible ways of interfacing with it so they don't get in trouble. What would you recommend for people?
Well, there are resources out there. People who are gifted. I mean, you think about it. You and I have different gifts. We're born with different abilities, and we certainly can enhance those over time by researching and learning and so forth. But we all are different, and I think in the same way, for example, angels have different abilities. Other creatures have different abilities. So, in this context, when I had some problems, I was able to find people who have the gift to heal. I have the gift to remotely scan your body and figure out if there's something attached to you. At one point, I had 14 different entities attached to me, ancient spirits of other kinds. The creatures called the jinn, D-J-I-N-N, which were not good guys. There's a couple people we've found that can scan us hundreds of miles away, scan our house, scan our bodies, and find out what's in our house, what's on our bodies, and remove it. That's just remarkable. But they're a resource. There are many resources out there.
That's wonderful to hear because, like you say, we can't all do it all. And yet there's a lot going on out there that may or may not be something we want to be associated with or have on us. And when people first start opening up, like you say, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly. How did you first notice you were picking up things that you didn't want?
Well, as early as 2004, when a female entity came in to our house, and it actually was visible to me, and it was not good. It just was not good, and it lasted for a year and a half at different times, and not good things were happening to me all that during that time. And you wonder why sometimes things are not going well for you. Well, it may be that there is some kind of entity in your life or attached to you. So that was the earliest, and then it lasted, they've tried as early as a year ago. 2 black cats came to our house, fully grown, a month apart, and one of them was injured on the back side. I took a picture of it, and I could see a definite entity on its rear end. I sent that to my psychic. I said, can you tell me what is going on? She said, yeah, definitely a bad guy. I will remove it for you. And he did, and within a week, the cat's fur turned just beautiful. And what was happening is that entity wanted to come into my house and felt if I embraced that cat, which I did, it would then be inside my house. And so you have to kind of understand that these things do exist, and they can be in different forms. And if things are not going well for you in some way, or something just doesn't seem right, perhaps it's related to something else in your life that is invisible like this.
Yeah, I kind of view them as incompatible frequencies. So, like, in my experience, messages are coming through in metaphors with multiple meanings. And are you seeing this also? And if so, why do you think that is?
I'm not sure I've had that. All I can say to you is I've had numerous occasions with entities that have not worked well for us, and actually were in our lives to prevent us from doing this kind of work that we're doing. Trying to prevent us from doing our books, in fact. Trying to prevent us from going to certain places. So I actually had in our last book, Simply Angelic, when we were in our car after I had my last meeting with our editor and we were ready to print, we're driving and my glasses fly off my head. I could feel like someone who was just batted my ear, and these glasses went ahead and broke in midair right at the middle, and then my car had a message on the dashboard, turned in red, which when you went to the book it said, if you see this sign, your wheels are spinning. And the message was,
we're going to have to take a short break, but boy, I want to
book?
pick up on this one on the other side.
Yeah.
We'll be back on the flip side
Yeah.
of this short break. You're listening to The Science of Magic, the place where artistic professionals of science and the esoteric create common ground for the betterment of our world. The scientist and the mystic have been on an age-old, relentless search with one thing in common. They seek truth. Their paths converge in the 40,000-year-old practice of shamanism, an ancient science delving to the quantum level of life, facilitating healing, manifestation, and evolution. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka, the founder and director of Path Home Shamanic Arts School, a unique Colorado State-certified occupational school training shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also provide classes for empowering personal lives through shamanism. Our certification classes are in week-long segments enabling international participation, and online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions are available. Come discover the science of magic in the limitless world of shamanism. www.findyourpathhome.com. Welcome back. This is the Science of Magic, bringing together gifted people of service to the world. We can be found on www.thescienceofmagic.net. I'm your host, Gwilda Wiyaka. Our guest this hour is Tom LUMBRAZO, author of numerous lovely books, including Simply Angelic. His website, www.whenangelstouch.com. And Tom has made a lovely offer of a gift to the first 25 people that contact him. So, Tom, do you mind telling what you're offering?
Yes, our last book, Simply Angelic, Sacred Images, is about 250 pages, and about 200 plus are of color photographs, very large ones, and these are combined with stories of the clouds, how these happened, as well as a great section on meditation with the clouds. So if anyone's interested, they can get one of these books for free, and I pay the postage as well. So just all you have to do is send an email to me at tom@whenangelstouch.com, tom@whenangelstouch.com, and ask for the book, and please include your physical mailing address, because I can't mail it unless you give me that. So happy to send these out. Archangel Michael, who is the guy that has been with me, wants these out to all people that are interested.
And what a beautiful gift in a time of need. I find such great comfort in the beautiful material you offer. And if you don't happen to be one of the lucky ones that gets in on this offer, Tom, where can people find your books?
Well, they have to go through me, and they just have to contact me through my email or through my website. The website is
Perfect.
oneangelstouch.com.
Perfect. So, how do you assure accurate interpretation of the information coming to you, Tom?
Well, perhaps it's trial and error, but it seems to just flow. What I do with many of the things that have happened, I have these two psychics that have remarkable abilities, and I've been working with them since 2006. So if I do have a question on something, I refer it to them, and usually they have the answers, and they have been remarkably accurate, I have to tell you. So I have that resource at my touch, and I think if anybody needs help, they should be able to find a good psychic. If they can't, they can go to my website and look for the link to 4 psychics there, and they could contact them.
That's very helpful. So basically, you're working as a soul team, aren't you?
Yes, actually, it's developed that way. In fact, I probably have somewhere close to 10 people that are close to me in this regard, and we all share.
That's amazing. And I see more and more of these soul teams forming as these times intensify, and those of us that want to be of service are kind of being drawn together. Have you been experiencing that?
I think only in my own situation, how it's evolved. I really haven't seen it so much in others. I'm just focusing on myself, to be honest.
Yeah, sounds like you have plenty to focus on there. What I find interesting about the way you work, Tom, is a lot of your stuff seems to be quite literal and very clear. Is that the way it's coming through to you?
Yes, and I don't know why it's this way, but frankly, my whole spiritual evolution has been about proving things. And so to have, for me as an individual, I always needed proof, visual proof particularly, and this is what they've given me with these clouds. And so proof of angels, proof of other beings, proof of so many things, so that other people can see it for themselves. And as you may know, when something weird happens and you try to tell somebody, but if you don't have any proof, they could say, well, you might be a little crazy, right? So anyway, I've been very fortunate to be able to give people evidence of these things, and then they can make their own judgment.
That's so important because we all look for ultimate proof, but I find really it comes down to it has to be proof for the individual, because what is that thing, that tone, that experience that tips us over from being non-believers into really touching in and being able to access this information seems to be very individual and different for each of us. Have you seen that?
Yes, and I think the other component too is when it starts, there's more and more and more. So it's not like one thing, like my accident, but there were so many other incidents over the years that say, wow, you know what, this is real. The reality is that, more maybe than we thought our lives here on Earth were. It is more than just this third dimensional existence that we have. There's so much more that we don't see that exists.
So is that opening, like the first experience starts us to open up a little bit, and then you say you've seen other life forms on Earth, like what, fairies, wood spirits, wood nymphs? What all have you seen?
Yeah, well, I've had fairies in my yard. We're close to a creek, and I believe that's where they live. And if I sit and stay a few minutes, they will come. They're just beautiful. However, I don't have pictures of them. What I have pictures of are the wood sprites that were taken in the San Francisco mountain range in Flagstaff, Arizona, up at 10,000 feet. And they're just a beautiful creature. And they live in the forests around the world, and they're a bit afraid of us because guess what we do? We cut down the forests.
Yeah.
So they're very shy. Yeah. And then the Menehuna on the top of the mountains in Hawaii. And there are long-standing legends from the native peoples there about these, and they called them orange creatures, little tiny creatures. Well, we have pictures of them on the top of the mountain in orange. I mean, there's no question these things exist, And it really begs the question: is how do we work with other life forms on this planet that have just as much reason to exist here than just us?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And, re-entering the circle of life is the whole key. So, in closing, what message do you have for our listeners?
Well, I think one of the big things is that this whole message is about love, finding divine love, which is the love of everything that has been created by our Creator. And in order to do that, you need to open your heart. We don't use our heart so much as we should. We use our brain. And our brain does some good things, but it does not bring the love that you can have with your heart. And when you bring that love, so many things can happen for you. So, and in fact, the more you show your love, I think the more these other things happen that are so tremendous. So I would encourage people to take time out each day and think about using their heart in some way to help somebody or give love to someone and so forth.
That's such a beautiful message, Tom, because I think, there's been all these studies that show how people don't see something until they have experience of it or belief in it. They can have it standing right in front of their face. And yet, if your heart is open, you're not just seeing through your eyes or through your mind or through your experience. You're also feeling through your heart. And I think heart connection with the planet, with one another, and with all that is the key to our future, don't you?
There's no question about it, particularly all the things going on our planet. We need all to work together, and the heart is the place to do it.
Beautiful message, Tom. It's been such a joy, and many blessings to you and your lovely wife. This has been The Science of Magic. Remember, you can always listen to this and other thought-provoking episodes on our website, www.thescienceofmagic.net. Until next time, dear ones, may you be blessed with knowledge, comforted with love, and surrounded by angels.